Hello, welcome to the Exposure Ninja Digital Marketing Podcast. My name's Tim Cameron Kitchen. I'm head ninja at Exposure Ninja and best-selling digital marketing author. This show is all about helping you to generate more leads and sales from your website. And in this episode, I'm delighted to be joined by a true ninja. Literally, she is a ninja here at Exposure Ninja. Holly Cuthbert is a dev project manager, which means she is one of the ninjas responsible for getting website projects built for our clients. So she works with our dev team and our designers to get these projects finished and beautiful and incredible and converting amazingly. Now, Holly's got a really interesting background in that she used to be involved in fashion and branding. And I wanted to bring her onto the show to ask her, with her fashion background, how businesses in very competitive markets can stand out. Because if you think about it, the fashion industry has this nailed, right? They can convince people to spend £300 on a plain t-shirt with a little logo of the brand on. They clearly understand something about branding. So Holly and I talk about this approach, and we also talk about how businesses who maybe haven't had much of a strong brand, or they're in markets where having a big brand isn't really the done thing, how they can stand out and how they can start to build a bit of this brand cachet. So we talk about helping people to come behind the scenes and build a relationship with the people behind the brand. We talk about the importance of logo and look and feel. We also talk about the importance of audience profiling as well. I absolutely love doing this episode. I think really interesting to just chat about this stuff. My sister's a fashion designer. I'm always on the business of fashion, looking at how fashion brands work and the marketing behind it. I think it's super, super fascinating. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed recording it. Don't forget, if you're really unhappy with your website's performance, if you're just not generating the leads and sales that you need, the first step to getting this sorted is to go to exposureninja.com and click on that big green button to request your free website and marketing review. We'll point you in the right direction. We'll show you the stuff that you need to work on completely free of charge and with no obligation to use our services at all. It's a really, really killer website and marketing review though. So go to exposureninja.com if you need some help with that. But now, enjoy the show with Holly Cuthbert from Exposure Ninja. Hey, Holly, welcome to the show.
Hey, Tim, how are you today?
Very good, thank you. So today we're going to be talking about tricky topic, how to stand out in a crowded marketplace. So you are a dev project manager at Exposure Ninja. What does your day-to-day involve?
Okay, so I am basically the go-to middleman between the development teams and the client, making sure that the client really gets what they want from their website and that we're really making a great platform for them that converts really, really well. And obviously it works for their brand.
And a large part of what you do therefore is, I guess, presenting our clients or presenting our clients' brands in a way that makes them stand out. And it ties in really nicely with your background in fashion, doesn't it, mate? Maybe you could give us a bit of an insight as to why branding and why standing out is something that you're so passionate about.
Yeah, Tim, I think that really a brand for me is something that it's really important as a brand to find your market, find your position. You know, it's something that I've always been passionate about. As I say, a background in fashion is where I started, but obviously it's not where I ended up. But it's given me a real good footing for really looking at the eye for detail. I think that any brand should first sort of start backwards, really go into the drill down into a story. And I've worked with some really good brands over the years and fashion brands, and I think they do it really well. They've got some really good examples, and they're quite a leader in the market, really, especially with visuals and everything. So I think branding, from my point of view, is a really important part for every business. And it's really, really key to identify a target audience, really.
So what comes first, in your opinion, for a good brand? Is it the story? Is it the logo? Is it the color scheme? Is it the audience? What's the first piece that people need to have in place if they want to stand out?
So I think, the first thing to do is really drill down into your audience. I get asked this question a lot, where people will say, is it just a cheesy sort of marketing ploy for people to say, what's my audience? Who is my audience? Is it male, female? What's their age? No, the answer is it's such a great exercise. And I know that it can feel like it's maybe a little bit tedious, but knowing who your audience is just the key to everything. You know then where they are, how you can find them, what that customer is doing. And it's just such a key exercise to really start with your audience. And then the story and the brand will come from there naturally.
That's a really good point. We were just doing some training around email marketing and looking at the highest performing emails and the highest performing web pages, and found that actually the ones that had been written to a specific person rather than just to a whole group of people tended to be the highest performing and the highest converting. And and then we kind of reverse engineered it and realized that actually if we're always writing to our Exposure Ninja, we have like 3 avatars that we always write to. Actually, that's the stuff that gets the most traction. So having a clear idea of this audience is absolutely crucial, isn't it? Otherwise, everything that you write kind of feels a bit generic and you don't really know what you're making something stand out, who you're making something stand out for, I guess.
Yeah, it's really important that the customer feels that they can resonate with you. So knowing who that customer is before you start to then expand onto the story and everything else is so important. You know, why are they going to buy from you? You know, what do they really want from you? You're going to know all the answers to all of these questions if you just do a simple task like really drilling down into who they are and who you're aiming at.
So someone who's listening who thinks, okay, but my audience is anyone who buys X, right? We see this all the time. In the Marketing Makeovers questionnaire I sent out to, I think we had about 100 responses. And one of the questions was, who is your target audience? And the most common answer was anyone who buys X. And for me, it's like, they have no idea about their target audience. So from that place of, I have no idea who my target audience, how do people pick an audience, go all in on it, and start to profile that person?
Yeah, so take it back to the basics. You know, everybody has got an audience, a target audience. It's an easy cop-out answer to say everybody. You know, everybody who buys X is just an easy answer. You know, you want to play hard here. You know, go in, really think about it. It's not going to be done in a night. It's not even going to be done in a week, maybe. You know, have a real think about it. Who are your competitors? Why are they buying from your competitors? You know, who's the customer there? If they've got a bricks and mortar place, go there. You know, do the exercises that really sort of back it up, and you will really find the target audience. It's important to put yourself in their shoes, put yourself in the customer's shoes. You know, what do you want from your brand? And if you're the customer of your brand, what are you looking for? Every business is ultimately solving a problem for someone. So what problem are you solving? And who is this person who you're solving the problem for?
One of the things we've started testing recently with clients is just calling some of their customers to just find out who they are, what they do, where they spend their time online. And it's been really interesting to initially say, who is your audience? I'm thinking of one company in particular. Who is your target audience? They say, well, it's people who are into photography. So I said, okay, are we looking at a mostly male audience here? They say, no, it's about 50-50. So I was like, okay, fair enough. That doesn't sound about right, but okay, let's just go with it. So send me over a list of your customers and I'm going to give them a call. So they sent me over a list of their customers, 100% male, right? Not only 100% male, 100% male in a particular age bracket. So even though they thought they had this really broad audience, actually they do have a specific audience. It just sometimes takes a little bit of digging, doesn't it, to find who they are.
Yeah. I think it's about honesty as well, Tim. You know, even though it would be really nice for every business to be like, oh, we've got such a wide audience, you know, the reality is that's just not the truth. You know, be honest with yourself as a business. Who is the audience and who's buying from you? Because by doing that exercise, you're only going to benefit yourself. You know, you're going to be able to target people more specifically. You know, I'm not a pay-per-click specialist, but however, we've got some amazing people at Exposure Ninja who taught me a lot over the past couple of months. You know, by knowing your target audience, these are the type of things that you can really take advantage of in the future down the line of once your brand's more established.
Absolutely. So maybe you could talk to me about story, because I know that your background in fashion, you must have been completely like, it's all about story, isn't it? And we build these kind of images around the brands based on the stories that they tell us. So how important is story, and is it only fashion type brands that really have to think about the story behind the business?
not at all. Every brand has to have a story. I think that it gives you this personality, it gives your business a personality, and we all know that we buy from people that we like, so there's no reason why we can't buy from the brands that we like and the people behind that. I'm not saying that every brand has to have a face to it, that's not necessary, but sometimes there is a reason why people really like to delve into these influencers, for example, because they feel like they're getting to know the individual person. So the story behind it is so crucial. Fashion brands, it's quite easy, to develop a story. Like you say, the people, the clients, the user of that particular fashion brand are looking for the story. They're involved in the story. A lot of the time, fashion brands are named after the creator. So there's already a story there. That doesn't necessarily resonate through other industries. So I don't particularly know any other industries where the business is necessarily named after the director, the CEO. But that doesn't mean that you can't create the story behind it. Why did you start the business? What were the things that drove you to do it? What's the future vision? Include people in that story, include people in your ideas, and they'll want to support you. They'll want to support your business.
I guess one example might be something like solicitors firms, right? Where it's always, whatever, Cuthbert and Co. But there's no personality by that at all. The websites are always completely generic. It's all stock imagery. It feels like one of the objections that businesses have to sharing their story is they think, yeah, but no one's going to be interested in my story. No one's going to be interested in me. All they care about is themselves. How do you overcome that? And how do you push people to be less afraid of, to be braver sharing their story?
I think it's just about, again, opening your eyes to other industries. I also think that when you start a business, it's easy to be tunnel visioned and obsessed with your own industry. I've got a competitor and they're not doing this, so we're going to do this and it's going to be groundbreaking. Well, it might be within your industry, but open your eyes, look at other industries, how are they doing things? How are they converting their customer into a buyer? So like you say, a solicitor is a great example because naturally they'll think, oh, we've got no story to tell here. But the voice of the website, the voice of the brand is so important. If everybody's so straight down the line with your solicitors, competitors, then would it work? Being a little bit more, feeling like you've got more approachable. You've got more approachable voice, more approachable phrases, that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be you as an individual, but it can just be more of the tone of your voice. And ultimately, the team, if you don't feel comfortable sort of putting so much of a spotlight on you as an individual, then reach out to the team. You can do it as a group. You can do it as a whole. You don't have to be sort of just focusing on one individual person.
And I guess if you're in a market like that, where the competitors tend towards a bland, faceless brand, any story is going to be better than no story.
Of course. And, and ultimately then people feel like they're going to want to pick up the phone and call you if they feel like actually you're not so stuffy, maybe. Again, it's just really sort of broaden your horizons. Read other websites that are from different industries. Look at other people's stories. It'll give you some inspiration. And it's really important to sort of do this on a regular basis as well. I think it's not just for new businesses. I think it's really key that businesses that have been around a little bit longer really take time to sort of sit back and see how things are working for them. Look at their branding. Is this working right? Is the voice right? Is our target audience still the same? As things progress with technology and, things are more accessible to us, the user habits are different. So people are going to work on the train, commuting, hence why we know that mobile is such a key thing. So are we, as a business, are you targeting the market correctly now that things have progressed? So I think it's very easy to sit back and say, oh, we did our branding 20 years ago and it's worked really well, because if it hadn't, we wouldn't be here anymore. Well, that's not the case. Progression and customers like to see that you're keeping up to date.
Absolutely. Okay. I want to ask you about vision and mission statement and kind of the big future picture. How important is it? But also, how it feels like sometimes these things are exercises that are done once and then shoved in a drawer, and then that's it, right? Someone goes on a boot camp, they do the mission statement, and then, not even 6 months, 6 hours later, that thing is completely forgotten and it's business as usual. So how important is it, and how can people who want to stand out make sure that their vision statement is something that lives and has purpose?
Yeah, I think that it's really important. It's in the same box as that sort of exercise where you pick your audience. You know, people do just think, is this just a generic exercise that I have to do for my business? The answer is no. And these are always changing. So I think it's really important to sort of readdress these as every 6 months, even once a year. Just keep readdressing them, because ultimately your vision is going to change. A mission statement is something that you are pledging. This is about your business, from the heart. It's something that, you really, really want to achieve with your business and what you are currently doing. A vision statement is the future. What is the sort of most audacious goal that you've got for your business? Why not share it with your customers? Why not tell them that in 5 years' time, we hope to be the biggest and the best, and share it with them. Ultimately, everyone's got a goal in life. So if you can sort of be brave and share that goal with your customers, then why wouldn't they want to help you in achieving that goal?
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because as people, we get so bought into the I'm thinking of like influencers and celebrities. I was just watching the most random thing on YouTube. This isn't usually what I spend my time doing, but a vlogger called Lydia Millen, and she just literally vlogs about her everyday life. And you think, for the first 20 seconds, you think, why does anybody care about this? And then for the next minute, you think, wait, there's a huge amount of views on this. And then you think, oh, I wonder what cushion stuffing she's going to use. And you get kind of sucked into this like story arc, right? But when it comes to business, we all assume that actually no one cares about the people behind the business or the vision or the mission, and that kind of long term doesn't matter, and we're just this kind of transactional entity that they want to draw value out of. So it feels like the vision and mission are actually massively important, because that's the longer term story which gets people hooked. And like you say, if they see a vision statement at the bottom of your website which resonates with them, then right, they're on the journey with you.
And I think also, Tim, I actually have a confession. I'm a follower of Lydia Millen.
Are you? Well, someone must be, because she gets like 300 views on what she wears.
Let me tell you, I am a follower of her interiors section. But it just shows you that, people are interested. And let me tell you, everybody is nosy. Everybody in this world is nosy. And that's why it's important to share the things that you as a business might think, actually, this is just not really relevant. Actually, somebody somewhere, that's probably going to be like the key thing that they think, oh, wow, and that's why these influencers work. This is why it's so popular. This is why social media is just out the park. It's all because we're nosy. We love looking into other people's lives. So why not do that with your business? Why not open a window and let people peer in? Tell them as much as you can, share it. And this is what the vision statement and mission statement is really for. It doesn't have to be a stale, boring, about us section on the website. It can be something that really, really changes and really, like you say, resonates with the customer.
Do you feel that people are sometimes, and by people I mean people who run businesses, do you feel they're sometimes hesitant to publish a vision and mission statement because it indicates that they're not there yet? They don't want to set a destination, because then it's like, well, we're not quite there yet. So if I wanted to be the biggest solicitors firm in Nottingham, for example, that indicates that I'm not the biggest solicitors firm in Nottingham. So I'm worried that a potential customer would look at me and go, yeah, but they're just wannabes. Do you think there's a part of that we're scared of being on the journey?
Yeah. I think so. I think that everybody's scared of that. It's something that, of course, you'd be scared of, but at the same time, use that to your advantage. At the end of the day, it's always good to, I think people like buying from the number two, generally, I think especially the British public, we love the underdog. There's no reason to sort of not share why the journey. People buy into the journey. They can follow you. They can be the person who can then say, in 3 years, actually, I was the first ever person who bought X. I was the first ever person who used them. Look at them now. It's that sort of social status, that credibility. Again, if you can get people on with the journey from the start, then, when you do eventually get to the goal that's on the vision statement, then, people are going to be shouting about it.
This is all getting very Gary V. Right. Talk to me about price. How come businesses use price to stand out? It feels like a positioning tool and not just, everyone else is charging. Let's just work out the average and let's charge that.
I think price is so important. It's people get sucked in by feeling like they should be at the lower price point of their industry or their niche, because that's the reason why that can be their USP. Yeah, we're the cheapest. We offer the best, but at the cheapest price. I don't think that necessarily that's what customers are looking for. They're looking for the quality. They're looking for, again, this is what the branding is so important. You need it to resonate with the customer. If you do get to that point where people are really feeling like they're going to resonate with you and that they want to buy from you, then the price doesn't necessarily matter so much. The price, it actually goes hand in hand with the branding. I think that there's so many good examples of this. I know that the beauty industry is just prime for it. They've got the same products replicated through various brands at different price points, and generally sort of that high to mid price point, mid to high price point even, generally is the best seller, and then you've got things that are selling at $1.99 that are the same price point, but actually, the same product at a much cheaper price point, but are just not selling.
I mean, your background in fashion is intriguing here, because fashion is almost entirely, or it seems to me almost entirely, a relationship between brand and a relationship with the brand and pricing. So Christian Dior sell a phone case for £330. So they've figured out something about price that the Amazon phone case seller hasn't, right? In your experience of working with fashion brands and in fashion brands, how did they think about price? Is it let's charge as much as we possibly can, or is there more subtlety to it than that?
You know what? It really depends on product. I think, again, influencers. I think that it's aspiration. The Christian Dior phone case is a great example. Yes, it's £300, but so £300 to certain people might be the only, the only thing they can get from Dior for £300. Is this phone case, and they'll be able to flash it around to everybody, and they could get an Amazon one for £3. But right now, all they want to do is show people that they've bought something from Christian Dior. That is the power of branding. The Christian Dior have got the brand. This phone case has probably cost them 1p, 2p to make, the same as the Amazon one. But the point is, people want to buy into the brand. It's the aspiration behind it. And I think the brands themselves are really aware of that. I think that I worked for a large fashion brand in London, and they had a one-off piece, which was just a fur scarf, a faux fur, I should add. And they used it on London Fashion Week, and they had some really key names, there on the front row. And this piece wasn't actually for sale. It was just going to be sort of as a statement showcase kind of piece. But they had a lady who was from the other side of the country call and say, can I have this scarf? And genuinely, it didn't have a price. And I remember there was this kerfuffle, and everyone was trying to sort of pinpoint the price, and they did just sort of end up sort of saying, let's just pluck a price out of thin air, because all she wants is to buy a piece of this brand. She wants to be able to say to her friends, I have got the only scarf that this company made, and it was showcased at London Fashion Week in XX and X, and therefore, it is all sort of the credibility. It goes back down to this massive brand journey, and people just want a slice of it.
For sure. This whole category is the luxury mediocrity category, isn't it? It's like sticking the logo on just a plain unfitted white t-shirt, or slap it on a phone case, and there you go. And it's just people are buying into that. Like you say, it's the only £300 item that they could get from Dior.
Yeah, I've got a friend who, she's a manager at Selfridges, and they have the exact same brands. Some of the brands in there, they sell Primark. Let's put this as an example. Selfridges sell Primark within there as a concession. They have people queuing up to get into this Primark concession because they buy something from Primark, they get it in a Selfridges carrier bag. That's why they're buying it, because they get it in a Selfridges carrier bag. Yeah. And they can walk around and say, I bought something from Selfridges. That's, again, it's all the power of branding. Why not go to Primark 3 doors down and buy it with no queue, You can just pop in, grab it and go. But no, they're queuing to get into Selfridges to buy it from there because they get a Selfridges bag.
So Selfridges, Dior, all these companies have understood this branding so well that they have this massive pull. They don't really. I mean, Dior obviously spends a lot of money on advertising, but there is a pull from the market, the pull from the lady trying to buy the faux fur scarf. How can an accountancy firm get that? I know that's a massive question. I don't even know how you're going to start answering it, but how can an accountancy firm tap into that kind of exclusivity and that desirability to get people worked into a lather about working with them?
I guess it goes back to the audience. If their audience of this accountancy firm is a luxury audience, then their voice has to speak to this luxury audience. They have to be really tracking down where this customer is, partnering. Partnerships are great, great ways of finding the customers. Fashion brands, again, they partner with one another. They'll do so-and-so for so-and-so. They sort of do this partnership with like a collaboration. I'm not saying that an accountancy firm will collaborate with another accountancy firm, but look around and see where their customer is. It goes right back down to this customer audience. Who are they? You have to tap into that audience in order to create this hysteria, whether it's an accountancy firm, a fashion brand. The whole point of this is to really drill down into the audience in order to create and speak to somebody. If you're going to speak to somebody in that way and really resonate with them, then there's no reason why they then would choose a competitor over you.
So you said a couple of really interesting things there. The partnerships thing is key, isn't it? Because fashion brands on the way up will want to be associated with other fashion brands or particular designers, or they'll want to be seen in particular shows. So there's like a proximity piece, which implies credibility, I guess. So if you're an accountancy firm and there's some super successful business in your town, could you get a relationship with them so that other businesses who look up to that company will be like, well, they do the accounts for whoever, so they're a bit of an influencer, so I kind of want to buy into that.
Definitely. It goes right back round to obviously where I'm working at the moment in the web dev team. The credibility logos are just so key to get them. If you've got some really good logos and you're working with some really good partners, get them on the site, preferably above the fold. It's going to be such a great way. We love seeing that other people trust you or work with you, especially like you say, if that's somebody who is a really big company or people, one where your customers are going to know them and think, wow, they're working with them, I need to be involved. It's this sort of fear of missing out as well. If they're working with them or they're dealing with them, why am I not involved? All back to credibility.
And then the other part, so you've built the credibility as the accountancy firm, but then the other part is what you were saying earlier about letting people in through the story. I mean, I'm hazarding a guess. Have you bought something because you've seen it on Lydia Millen's channel?
I haven't.
No, you haven't?
I have done that previously with another person that I follow, only because I'm renovating my house at the moment and I'm just obsessed with interiors influencers.
Okay, well, to balance you out, I'm going to be completely honest. I actually bought some stock music from one of the channels from one of the companies that she uses. So Lydia Millen has technically influenced the purchase of mine.
Tim. She's actually taken you. Out of the two of us, who would have guessed?
Especially as I'm on day one of my followership. But my point is, allowing people in to the story, a super weird thing started happening about 6 months ago for me personally. And that was when I was talking to clients on the phone. They would say things like, wow, it's so weird to talk to you because I've been listening to the podcast or watching the videos. And I was like, that's super weird because I'm just me. But the point is they had kind of bought into all this stuff behind the scenes so that actually talking to me in that moment did feel different. And I guess we're saying the same thing by allowing people into the story and the behind the scenes of your accountancy firm. If you're talking about what it's taking to grow a business, that's something that could actually be really interesting to your target audience. And by the time they actually need an accountancy firm, they'll think, well, I've been following these guys. Like that's special. They have a much closer relationship.
It's all about sort of feeling like they can just get a slice of your business. whatever that may be, whether it's accountancy, whether it's eventing, whether it's photography, whatever it may be. It's making it feel like it's an exciting step for the customer to sort of buy into it, even if it's just a little bit, or even just to follow you and feel like actually when the time comes, it's a journey at the end of the day. And again, by doing these original exercises of really targeting down who the audience is, you're going to know their pattern, their buying patterns. Are they a person who is going to follow you for a long time and then maybe purchase something 6 months down the line? Or are they a Tim and are they going to follow you on day one and purchase something that you promoted?
She didn't even promo me that hard. And there wasn't even an affiliate link, so she'll never know. But anyway, all right, let's talk about branding. And by branding, I mean what everyone normally thinks of as branding, which is logo and color scheme. So I can't help talking to you about fashion because your background is there. We're seeing this kind of trend towards brands, some of the high-end luxury brands losing their more traditional looking logos and going to these like pretty similar typefaces, which are super usable apparently on phones and social media and all this stuff, which instantly kind of threw me for a loop because I'm thinking, well, the reason that people like Balmain, for example, is because they know that look and they've just thrown away all of this history. But obviously they know something about logo and the importance of that physical kind of brand that and actually they're happy to detach themselves from that. A lot of businesses feel, we see it in the dev team when we're sending someone a logo, they treat this as such an emotional thing. It's almost like designing the look of their baby. So in your opinion, how important actually is the logo? We kind of, it looks like we're getting two conflicting perspectives here from fashion and the rest of the world.
Yeah, I think that, it's key. Obviously, the logo is important. Like you say, especially for a new business, I think that people do really feel like this is just the be all and end all, But don't forget that, again, this logo can go on a journey. The logo is not set in stone. The fashion brands are showing that right now. Definitely, there's so many brands out there who drop things as time's gone on. They might have dropped a colour within their logo. They might have dropped an icon within their logo, Just as things move with your business, there's no reason why the logo can't adapt itself to fit, which I think is why it's really important that brands realise that from the start. This logo, even though it's going to obviously be a real key part for you for the next maybe few years, no matter how long you want to keep it, it is a progression. It's not going to stay there forever. So I think sort of taking that sort of massive responsibility off its shoulders sort of to start off with is really important. And then also sort of really drilling down into what you want the logo to achieve. Again, looking back through all that research that hopefully you'll have done about your audience and where they're at and who they like and who they're currently buying from. What are the sort of key features in the brands as far as logo, colours, that kind of thing? Obviously, if you're an eco brand, you're not going to be using red anytime soon. It's just a lot of it is down to sort of basic common sense, really sort of drilling down into the colour schemes of your brand and business, but at the same time, not being too stale about it. Try and just keep the excitement. I think that that's something that can get lost in this process. It's a creative process at the end of the day. It's meant to be fun. By sort of really feeling like it's got so much pressure on it and such a weight on its shoulders, I think that you kind of lose that in the process. This is a really exciting time for your business, so sit back and enjoy it.
That's such good advice. Just chill out.
Yeah, I think so.
And like all of us, it's going to look different over time.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to look different. It's going to mature with age.
For sure. Cool. All right, Holly, thank you so much for joining us. This has been really interesting. I've learned a lot and realized a whole bunch of stuff that I never really thought about before.
Thank you very much for having me, Tim.
And thank you everyone for tuning in.